Hey folks, welcome to our video for Chapter 19's overview. Today we're going to talk about writing a researched argumentative essay. So researched argumentative essays are a little peculiar in that they do require a lot of, especially like at the collegiate level versus high school level, they're going to require you to utilize a lot of scholarly and professional resources. And so we're going to go over the specifics of what all goes into a research-based argumentative essay in this video. Please feel free to take notes as needed. With this chapter specifically, I would say taking notes is a good idea. So here we go. I know seeing all the writing on the page is probably very overwhelming, so I tried to pull some really key takeaways from the most important of the takeaways from this week's chapter. Chapter 19 opened with an intro to research writing, and it talked about how intricate and dynamic a process this is because it goes beyond just collecting data. It involves a lot of critical thinking, it involves analysis, and then you also have to synthesize information that you have read from all these different resources, as well as your own analysis that you are taking away from those resources, as well as the critical thinking that you have done and your own opinions that you have. You kind of have to synthesize them all together to support your thesis or your argument or your main idea. So here are some essential points that you're going to want to understand about the research writing process. So this is a very integrated process. It requires thinking. We are researching, we are writing. All of these elements are interconnected activities that enrich each other. And the process of research writing is definitely not linear. So linear means, you start from beginning, middle, end. You go in one straight line fashion. Research writing is not like that. This is a lot more complex. There is a lot of back and forth that you have to do or that you can do. Beyond high school writing, a lot of college level research writing demands a higher degree of sophistication. And this is where our work in 162 with our research writing essay comes in, and that helps you, or it kind of tries to prepare you for some of the writing demands that you are going to come across, not only in college level classes, but also in some parts of your professional life. It also helps you to work on some practical skills. So learning to write research papers in college helps you become a more discerning consumer of information. It's a very valuable skill in everyday life where research-backed claims are common. What is research? Well, research involves collecting and analyzing evidence to answer a question or support an argument. It's about using a methodical approach to find sources and critically interpret them, not just gathering random facts. So we're not just going on Google to look up a bunch of stuff. We are actually looking to find credible resources, and then we are critically interpreting them, trying to determine whether or not they are a good fit for what it is that we are trying to unpack about an argument or learn about a topic. Research does not stop with just finding information. It's also about presenting your findings in a way that adds to the knowledge on the topic. So a lot of people think, research is just about finding out what other people have said and, there we go. This is what other people are saying. Kind of like, a PowerPoint project or a slide project. This is not a slideshow. This is not a place where you are telling us, well, this is what so and so said, this is what so and so said. That's part of it. The other part of it is where you incorporate the additional knowledge on the topic. And you are kind of adding to the conversation that is already happening. Research writing as a process. Like all writing, research writing follows the process of planning, drafting, revising, editing. No writing is ever perfect. No writing is ever truly complete. There's always something that you can go back and add, go back and change, go back and enhance. It also requires specific skills for finding and integrating sources into your argument. So it's very important that you understand that research projects can be extensive. So planning your research and writing schedule is very crucial to avoid being overwhelmed when it comes to writing such lengthy and in-depth papers. Like I said, research writing involves several stages. Research is a very important component of this that interacts with all of these stages, and it does the influencing and is also influenced by them. So for example, if I started off doing my research, and then okay, after I do my research, I have my working thesis. And then I start developing my paragraphs. I'm drafting. Well, maybe while I'm drafting, I realize, maybe the stuff that I've researched isn't specific enough. So then I'm going to go back and do more research. So my research not only influenced my draft, but then the draft in turn influenced what more I need to add, what more research I need to do. Like I said, nonlinear process. The writing process is influenced by the writer's purpose and the context. Different writing tasks will shape how you engage with the writing process. It's very important that writers understand that the writing process is adaptable. You have to be prepared to revisit and revise your approach based on the needs of the specific writing project. The second section talked about some considerations that writers kind of need to take, from understanding the assignment's requirements to selecting a topic that resonates with both you and your intended audience. Very important that we understand the specific assignment. Read and reread the instructions. Make sure that the requirements that are specified by your instructor, including the length, the structure, the number of sources needed, all of these things need to be extremely clear to you. My suggestion, when you are reading the assignment directions, take out a spare sheet of paper or a sticky note or some kind of small piece of paper and bullet point what are some of the key things that you have to make sure that you include in your paper. Then you want to also remember you got to identify the main purpose of your essay. Determine whether your essay is going to demonstrate knowledge on a specific topic, or are you going to explore and share insights on an open-ended question. And that will help guide your research direction and writing focus. If you are given the freedom to choose your topic, my suggestion would be that you pick a topic that interests you personally, because it's going to ensure that you are much more engaged and passionate in the research process. But also make sure that you are, checking the boxes, like I said on the previous slide, making sure that whatever topic you're picking is also something that is relevant to the course or relevant to the unit that your instructor is trying to teach you or walk you through. Utilize some free writing exercises to kind of help you brainstorm and narrow down broad interests to a more focused research question. So say your instructor says, you have the freedom to choose anything about technology for your research project, for your research paper. Okay, great, technology. That is a very broad interest to work with. You want to narrow it down further. What kind of technology are we talking about? Then you also want to consider, does this technology pertain to a specific group, crowd of people? Who is interacting with this technology? Technology could be something like electric cars. Technology could also be something like AI, text generative AI. Technology could also refer to cell phone usage in the classrooms, So you want to make sure that you are utilizing some kind of brainstorming activities, some kind of brainstorming exercises that help you to narrow down such a broad interest to a more focused research topic. And then you want to develop a question that's going to guide your investigation. It's not going to need a ready answer, but it should invite some kind of exploration. Like I said, remember that the writing is a form of conversation with your audience. You want to choose topics and frame your arguments in a way that not only showcase your enthusiasm and engagement with this, but also show that your audience matters to you and the subject matters to both you and your audience. Another criteria for topic selection could be assessing your own existing knowledge, so what you already know about the topic versus what you wish to discover about the topic. So, say I am extremely well versed with the effects cell phones have on teenagers in a high school classroom, for example. If I already have existing knowledge about this and I want to discover something else about this topic, I could consider forming my question around like what effect does social media have. So notice I go from cell phones and I narrow it down even more to social media. I can specify even further. Like maybe I want to say TikTok, maybe I want to say Instagram, maybe I want to say Snapchat. Maybe you want to use all three. Regardless, um, maybe like I just say social media. So maybe my question has more to do with what effect do various forms of social media have on teenagers' attention spans? And what effect do those have on their performance in the classroom? Again, I'm spitballing here, but notice how we take a broad topic like technology and then bring it down to as small a unit we possibly can. And as we break down our topics into smaller, chunks, we want to consider, are there any resources that are kind of already talking about this topic? If there are, that makes us jumping into that research a little bit easier. If we are the pioneers of a particular research or of a particular topic, it's going to be a little harder for us to prove our point. Can it be done? Yes. I mean, we have pioneers in research all the time, but it takes a lot of hard work, a lot of data goes into proving that those pioneers are accurate in what they say or their arguments are valid. You want to explore your topics through reading. You want to read through the resources that you are considering. You want to read articles and things that have to do with a topic that you're interested in, because this can not only help you spark new ideas, it can also help you understand what are some questions that are already being asked by people in the field, and where does your argument fit into all of this. Reflect on your topic choice. Ask yourself, why does the topic matter to you and what you already know or believe about it? Think about what you aim to learn through your research and who else might be interested in or affected by this topic. So, for my topic, if I'm talking about social media affecting a teenager's attention span, I know parents might be interested. I know teachers are going to be interested. Identify where your interests are overlapping with those of your audience and where they might diverge. When you finalize your topic, choose one that's not only going to interest you, but it has the potential to engage other readers. Consider how your topic is going to contribute to or challenge existing conversations in this field. You don't want to, like I said before, you don't want to restate somebody else's argument. You want to add more to that conversation. When you're planning your research, you want to utilize as strategic an approach as you possibly can. You want to decide on resources and organizational tools that are going to provide you with good, authentic, professional, scholarly resources. Try to stay away from Google. Definitely stay away from Wikipedia when it comes to using them as a professional, scholarly resource. I'm not saying that you can't find good quality texts through those, but you don't want to rely on them. You want to find and then evaluate the resources that you have found. Begin with a clear understanding of the type of information that you're looking for. Are you looking for statistics? Are you looking for examples? Is the source that you are looking at right now relevant to your argument? Does it showcase that this is a credible piece of information that you could potentially refer to in your argument? Is it reliable? All of those things are very important. You want to use databases and periodicals. Your college provides you with access to a variety of different databases. Utilize them. JSTOR is a great one. EBSCO is another great one. If there are others that you come across that are not, ones that you've been given access to through your college or university, check with the instructor to see whether or not it is a decent enough resource to use. When you're looking for resources, your search words, your keywords also are extremely important. So consider playing around with the keywords. That way you're able to filter your results effectively. So it's possible that, I start off by typing in social media into a JSTOR search engine, but then I might consider using words like TikTok, Snapchat, adolescent, attention, to see what other resources are out there that are kind of pertaining to the conversation that I'm planning on joining in. Explore electronic resources, the same as consider using them as you would consider using a book or a magazine or a journal, a periodical. You want to evaluate both print and electronic resources with the same critical eye. Earlier, I'd mentioned Google and Wikipedia. Over here, we make the same point. While popular search engines can definitely yield a wealth of information, make sure that you're mindful of the limitations and challenges that they're presenting. Use advanced search options to limit and refine your results. Focus more on reliable domains and updated content. Organize your arguments and evidence. Me personally, I always like to designate one sheet of notebook paper at least per resource that I'm working with, and I try to summarize, take some summarization notes, and then I also, if I can't highlight the text, then I like to write down some key pieces of evidence that I find. And as I'm writing these key pieces of evidence, I am also in the margin jotting down what I think this means, what implications this might have for my research, things like that. This helps me to organize my argument, and it also helps me to kind of pre-plan where I'm going to be potentially using what pieces of evidence from what resource. As you are reading your resources, please be prepared to adjust your thesis or to conduct further research if needed to ensure that your argument is well supported and well rounded. Research is an iterative process that requires or might require revisiting earlier steps based on new findings or insights. So make sure that you are flexible and open to adjusting your approach as your understanding of the topic deepens. Given the time-consuming nature of research projects, develop a detailed plan and schedule to help manage your time effectively. Consider the deadlines, allocate sufficient time for each stage of the research process. Like I said, with the notebook sheet of paper per resource, that is a tool that works for me. Find something that works for you, or if you want to try out what I said, give it a shot. If it works for you, great. If not, the world is your oyster. So what's the structure of a researched essay? Well, we want to start with our introduction. If you haven't seen the video for chapter 9, please do. That goes over intros, conclusions, body paragraphs, topic sentences, the whole shebang. You also want to give us some background information where we, as the reader, you have to remember people reading your work might not be entirely familiar with it. So if I'm talking about text generative AI, what the heck does that mean? That's something that I'm going to want to emphasize and explain and explore in my background information section of my paper. Make sure that you incorporate some kind of evidence to support your points. This is going to go in your body paragraphs. Incorporate evidence, quotes, paraphrases. Make sure you cite your work. All of these things are going to help to substantiate your arguments It's very vital that you weave evidence into your narrative instead of just copy pasting or dropping a quote in there. Always follow a quote with an explanation of how it's relevant, what it means. Give me more than just the quote itself, give me some commentary, some analysis for it. You want to give us an insight on what your opponents might say, so address some counter arguments and excuse me, respond to those counter arguments, which means basically give us your opponent's side and then refute their claim, counterclaim, and the refutation. You're going to end your research paper with some kind of conclusion that offers closure. It restates the thesis in new words, recaps key points, it leaves a lasting impression. It gets broader as the paragraph goes on. So again, if you have not seen the video for chapter 9, you should definitely revisit that. Also, you have to make sure that you incorporate a works cited page, especially if you're working in MLA, it's going to be works cited. If you're working in APA, it's going to be reference page. Include a works cited or whatever bibliography page for your research paper at the very end of your essay. So it's the last page of your document. It goes all on its own. And make sure it lists all of the sources cited. I forgot to type this on here. Make sure that your resources are listed in alphabetical order, in order of last name. Revise and edit for structure, coherence, and unity. Editing is an ongoing process when it comes to writing, but make sure you're focusing on correcting your grammar, spelling, punctuation, and formatting. Be open to revising earlier stages of the research process as well if revisions uncover new insights or gaps. Like, say, maybe you've already finished your research essay, but while you are going through a peer review session or you are editing your own work, you're like, whoa, hold on. This counter argument right here is actually quite strong. Maybe you are going to want to revise that counter argument to strengthen your refutation rather than leaving the counter argument stronger than you trying to explain why your perspective is more correct. So be flexible when it comes to editing any kind of written work. Additional insights, and this is going to be our last slide. Flexible intro and conclusion. While these are the key bookends of your essay, be prepared to revise them after you complete the body of your work, because your thesis may or may not change, and you want to make sure that your intro and conclusion are reflective of those changes. Contextualizing evidence. Always make sure that you contextualize that evidence within your argument to guide your reader through your reasoning process. Don't just give me Martin Luther King states blah 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 blah. Instead, tell me a little bit about what is the context of him saying whatever he's about to say. Balanced argumentation refers to addressing counter arguments, not just about refuting them, but also showing the complexity of the issue that you are trying to, point your proof towards, or prove your point towards, if I can English. Citing resources, extremely important. Please make sure that you have correct in-text citations as well as the works cited page entries. Make sure that they look good. It does not hurt to double and triple check your citations. Utilize the tools and resources that you need to ensure your accuracy. Do not rely always on the citations that databases give you, because sometimes they might miss out on key information. Sometimes the formatting might be wrong. Sometimes they forget to capitalize titles, which is kind of strange, but it's a great way, or it's a great, for an instructor, it's a great way to see which of their students is double checking their work or proofreading even their citations, or running their citation both from a database versus a manual entry that you've kind of put together through Citation Machine or EasyBib. Remember that writing a research essay is a process that may require you to move back and forth between different stages. Please, please, please remain flexible and open to revising your approaches based on your new findings or your insights. That is the only way that you're really going to produce a very compelling and well-supported essay. So if you have any questions on the structure of a researched essay, or if you have started on a structure that you don't really know if it's going the right way, let me know. I'd be more than happy to guide you in whatever way that I can. You know how to reach out to me if you have no questions, you are ready to move on to the activities for this week. And if you run into any hiccups, feel free to reach out. I wish you the best of luck.